Hi everyone, we're going to find the solution set for these three polynomials. The first one is when the polynomial is positive. The second one is positive, and the third one is negative. So for the first one, we have x minus 5 times x plus 2 is positive. So we're going to check the zeros, and I can also write this as f of x equals x minus 5 times x plus 2. So the zeros of this are 5 and negative 2. So 5, 0, negative 2, 0. And what we're going to do is use this little table and check our intervals. Since our zeros are x equals 5 and x equals negative 2, I'm going to start with my smaller number and check intervals from negative infinity to negative 2. And then I'm going to check from negative 2 to 5. And then I'm going to go from 5 to infinity. And I'm going to choose numbers within these intervals. So the numbers I'm going to choose are negative 3, 0, and 6. And I'm going to plug it into my f of x equals x minus 5 times x plus 2. And evaluate my x. So when I plug in negative 3, I get 8. When I plug in my 0, I get negative 10. And when I plug in 6, I get 8. Well, 8's a positive number. Negative 10 is negative, and 8 is positive. So basically, for my solution set, I want this to be positive. So I'm going to pick my intervals that are positive. They give me positive values, which is this one and this one. So my solution set is x such that x is less than negative 2, or this one where x would be greater than 5. Okay, the next one we have is x squared plus 8x is positive again, or f of x. My f is f of x equals x squared plus 8x. Now in this one I'm going to go ahead and have to factor out an x to get my zeros. So my zeros would be x equals 0 and x equals negative 8. Again, these are your x-intercepts. Now I'm going to use my table and pick intervals. So since my two solutions are negative 8 and 0, I'm going to start with my smaller number, negative 8, and go from negative infinity to negative 8. Then I'm going to go from negative 8 to 0, what's happening between that interval, and then 0 to infinity. And again, my function is f of x equals x squared plus 8x. And we also want our positive values. So the number I'm going to choose for this, I'll just choose negative 9. Here I'll choose negative 1. I'll choose 1. You can choose anything you want within that interval. When I plug my negative 9 in, I get 9. When I plug in, I'm plugging it in here, negative 1, I get negative 7. And when I plug in 1, I get 9. So this is a positive number, negative number, positive number. We want positive. So I'm picking these two intervals. Therefore, my solution set is all x, such that x is less than negative 8, or x is greater than 0. And my last one is x squared minus 1 is negative. So if you factor this, you get x minus 1 times x plus 1 is negative. So my zeros are 1 and negative 1. So use those. We have x equals negative 1, x equals 1, and my f is x squared minus 1. And again, we want this to be negative. So I'm going to choose my intervals, or my intervals are going to be negative infinity to negative 1, negative 1 to 1, and 1 to infinity. Okay, and choosing numbers, that would be up to you. And the ones I chose were negative 2, 0, and 2. And I plug it in here, and I get 3, negative 1, and 3. This is a positive number, negative number, positive number. Since we want negative, this is my interval. So my solution set is x, such that x is in between negative 1 and 1. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.